Happy Tuesday. Happy April. April feels like such an opening, and I'm excited. I'm excited for it, and I understand all the parts. And yeah, anyway, today is Tuesday. Today, on Tuesday, I usually think about my throat chakra. That's the thing that gets to talk. That's the part of me that talks. That's the part of us that takes our insides and puts them outside. And a lot of times, before I understood the work that I teach now, I would talk without really considering that. I didn't understand that the things that I say actually work to support that knowing. I felt like I'm saying the truth when in fact, yeah, sure. But also, I'm not letting it change because this saying is keeping this truth in place. If I could at least stop the saying, I could slow it down that way. And sometimes slowing it down in a way where I'm telling everyone, this is what's happening, then I can think in myself, and without everyone else's mix, without everyone else except for me and me, now I can say, I wish this would be different. I would like this to happen differently. I really could see this happening in a way where nobody has to lose. You can start getting more general when you aren't sharing so much of the not preferred. And it's a practice. Like, we are used to finding something that we don't like or prefer and sharing and getting support for that. And there is a processing part that's good. There's a venting and a movement of energy that's good. But when you are sharing it for the sake of sharing it, know that you are actually helping continue it. Even if it's something that you are saying, I do not like this, I do not prefer this, I do not choose this, I didn't. All of those not words, unfortunately, do not register into the universe as a not. They just register as an energy. Now, the not behind it, that's how we can talk about the speed of things. Not moves a lot faster than I am. Not moves a lot slower than I am. Not, and so we measure energy. How does it feel? Does it feel good, bad, neutral? Does it feel scary or exciting? Does it feel blank? There are many ways that we can measure energy. However, just like the universe doesn't know no, energy isn't necessarily reading your words. It's going by how you feel. We use the word good because that's how we can describe eek versus meek, but don't get too mixed up on what it is that has you feeling better. A lot of times we can get an idea in our head and we can't believe it, and we won't let ourselves feel the relief. If you could get an idea that maybe seems far-fetched for your situation and just say, that could be cool, that would be cool, or something else, that could be cool, or something else. Yes, universe, that would be one way to do it, or something else, because that does feel better. And sometimes it is a wild-ass idea to get our attention and be like, okay, I didn't even actually consider that, But know that everything that we are experiencing is thought inside of ourselves first, and then expressed outwardly, and then we are able to walk into it. And it happens with or without our participation. And just like you learn to walk and talk, you can learn to move and manage your energy and have things different from exactly where you are, the exact person that you are today. You can start moving things in a different way. And it starts in your thinking mind. And then the next thing is, well, what would that thinking mind person be like? What would that person get to feel? How would she move? How would he prepare? See, a lot of times, I was talking with someone yesterday about this. A lot of times we get the idea, we get excited, hi, and we prepare for it to fail. That plan B, while it might be security in a way to our human self, it is shrinking in a way, slowing in a way of energy movement, especially if you're wanting a whole entire different situation. My first thing that I got to learn was about in my body. How do I change a reality in my body? My coach at the time advised me to stop looking at it. You know, for the most part, my mental capacity was a wreck, but the physicality was just a little bit larger than I liked by about a lot of pounds, you know? So the guidance was, we stop looking at that. You have to sort of let yourself forget what to expect. Stop looking for a few days. Pick the clothes that you know what they're going to look like. You know, check your face before you go out the door. But if you're calling yourself a potato sack, which is how I was talking, if you're in potato sack mode, you're not going to look in that mirror today and see someone different than that. You need a couple of days to downregulate this energy and start to expect to look for someone else. And then it went into my eyes talking that I wanted to feel better about this person. I wanted this person to enjoy her life in her body, you know, without comparing and wishing she were someone else all the time. You know, I wanted to know what that would feel like to just really like me. And in the beginning, those were the kind of phrases that helped me bridge the gap, because that was not my reality. I didn't love myself. I couldn't stand myself. I didn't want to participate anymore. You know what I mean? And now I wake up on these days, like a Tuesday, for example, just like this Tuesday, and ask my BFF. I called her dancing and singing and excited because I brushed my teeth upstairs in the bathroom before I even came downstairs, because I'm kind of weird and I like to brush my teeth in the kitchen after I wake up and have coffee. Yes. Yeah. I'm happy. I'm happy and excited. I'm ready for all of the new beginnings, and I'm not going to limit them by deciding what they have to look like. I'm just going to reach for how they feel. They feel like more freedom. They feel like more joy. They feel like new experiences. They feel like happy people. They feel like memories, and like I want to take pictures of all of it. I can't, but I'm gonna feel like I want to take pictures of all of it and video all of it. You know, that's how I think and feel when it feels like I don't know. Because sometimes we don't know, especially in the beginning of finding our goodness and our well-being and a life that doesn't suck. Sometimes there is no other word. Like at that point, life didn't feel good to me, and by the program, I should have been happy. I was supposed to be happy, and I did everything that I was told, and I didn't feel happy, guys. I didn't feel happy, except for maybe 15 or 30 minutes on a Tuesday, you know? And that's not how I choose to live. I like these days where most days are really delightful. And if I have a crash out moment, it'll be over really soon and I'll get to experience something better for it. Because actually I'm always open for new. So it doesn't actually feel like crashing anymore. It might feel like, oh wow, okay. But it doesn't feel like I have to smash and hit the wall anymore. You know, there was a lot of that for me before because it was so different for me to know well-being, to just let goodness be a part of me. It wasn't what I was programmed originally to do, and that's not because someone said, let's program this guy to not like herself. You know, these were things that were ingrained through my learning and my living, and by people who thought they were helping me to thrive in this world. And maybe if that was the world I was wanting to participate in, I guess I would be thriving. But that's not what it felt like to me. It felt like I was filling robotic shoes, and every day I was dying inside. I was dying. And the closer that I got to my day, the happier I got. And I was so light the day before. I remember being so happy, like, thank you, God, it's over. And when it didn't go all the way, it felt so heavy. I was like, I don't know how to do it anymore. I can't. I didn't plan to do this. I didn't plan to do any of this. And it took a minute. But I kept going. I had my coach to support me. Do you guys remember when I told you who my coach was? I know at least one person does. 2 probably. It was a pretty cool, actually, moment. This whole thing has been really magical for me. So, anyway, my ears just got warm and happy. I'm gonna go start thinking about food and or see if I'm gonna hang out with my BFF today. And what's next? Have a lovely Tuesday.